Folks, good evening and welcome to the Daily Report and the People's Court on a very special day. The very first Tuesday of the year 2025.
And the very first Tuesday of the People's Court.
Absolutely. If you've made it on this day, then rest assured that the Almighty has a lot in store for you.
Yep.
So please hang in there and get yourself in gear.
And you know, sometimes you'd probably say that I did not manage to do what I wanted to do last year.
Yes.
You want to carry forward some of the resolutions to the next year.
Right.
Please don't beat yourself so hard.
Yeah.
Do not beat yourself so hard. It's yet another beautiful year, and we can only stay positive.
Exactly. It's a second chance.
Yes,
at your dreams and ambitions and goals and purpose.
That's true.
Yeah.
But now,
yes,
beyond that, we must have a conversation that revolves around the dreams and the purpose of our students, of our children, and education at large.
Absolutely, the next generation.
Yeah.
And over the last calendar year, we've had quite a lot of change in the education industry. A lot of transition in terms of, the system from 844 to CBC. We had the last cohort of KCPE, the last cohort of, we've seen grade 9 for the first time. Lots of changes there, lots of teething problems, and that's some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight.
And of course, we get to see our students go back to school after a very long holiday. Just what are the hits and the misses that we'll be having to discuss this evening as to the education sector? I mean, this is a conversation that, interests you and me and all of us, because in a way, we have our students in school. Some of us are actually in school at this very point. So it's important that you engage us, and we'll be telling you how you get to speak to us shortly. But it's important that we as well look at news, and here are the highlights. Kibet, Bull and Billy Mwangi speak of their abduction a day after their release.
Sahi niko sawa, lakini niko under medication na niko psychologically traumatized.
Kibet insists he went for a disco matanga after his release.
Kidogo nilikuwa nikisikia sauti ya muziki. So baada ya hapo nikasema acha niende nijikalie huko, ikifika asubuhi nijiende. Kufika huko ilikuwa disco matanga.
Many questions remain unanswered. And crisis over grade 9 transition over lack of classrooms. We tell you of a school in Nairobi that is forced to teach learners in a nearby church. Publishers now say their grade 9 textbooks are now available at bookshops.
KPA can confirm that there are still sufficient and relevant textbooks in circulation in bookshops, in schools.
As parents face challenges from unavailability of CBC textbooks. Also tonight, Togo has pledged support for Raila Odinga's AUC bid ahead of February elections as President Ruto intensifies campaigns for Kenya's candidate.
All right, all that and so much more we have in store for you this evening, and we begin our news now. Gideon Kibet, alias Kibet Bull, and his brother Ronnie Kiplangat have finally been reunited with their family in Nakuru County.
Well, the two brothers who were released yesterday have narrated their ordeals in the hands of the abductors who allegedly dumped them in Luanda and Machakos, respectively.
And as Chi Josephine now reports, Billy Mwangi, who was also abducted, also says he went through a rough time in the hands of the abductors. Let's take a look.
Look at that.
It is the joy of a mother finally reuniting with his two sons after a long wait.
Nimeshangilia kabisa fikelekele. Sasa sina story mingi, ndio niko na furaha kabisa. Sasa sahi sina ya kusema juu nimeona hawa. Niko na furaha kabisa.
Gideon Kibet, the second born in a family of 10, was allegedly abducted on 25th December and was later dumped at Luanda area of Vihiga County, while his brother Ronnie, who was equally abducted, was dumped in Machakos County.
Nilipofika Luanda, nilisikia wakisema toa kisu. Nikadhani wanataka kuniangamiza, so hapo wakakata kitu walikuwa wamenifunga nayo mikono, then wakaniambia, wakafungua macho, wakaniambia kimbia uone na usione nyuma.
Kibet explains that unknown people in a white double cabin vehicle appeared in Kikuyu town after his meeting with Busia Senator Okiya Omtata, where he was bungled into the car and covered his eyes with his shirt.
I had an appointment with Okiya Omtata. Okay. Then after that, I boarded a super metro to Kikuyu. After kushuka kwa super metro, some just distance about 5 meters, a certain suspicious lady came. I heard her saying, "Mko wapi?" Out of sudden, about 4 men sprang and wakanishika kwa mwili. After hapo niliweza kuwekwa ndani ya gari na watu walikuwa wamemasked themselves, na wakaweza kurarua shati langu, kufunga nayo macho na wakanifunga mikono.
Ronnie Kiplangat, Kibet's brother, recalls a similar ordeal where unknown people dragged him in a car on his way from church, although Ronnie believes he was mistaken for his brother Kibet.
The only thing that I recall is being thrown into a vehicle and being taken where I can't really recall. Perhaps they were trying to abduct me because of my brother. I can't really say they had the main reason for abducting me. It could be because of my brother.
According to Kibet, the men freed him in Luanda area of Vihiga County at around 4 a.m., where he decided to go to attend a nearby disco matanga awaiting morning time.
Ilikuwa karibu saa 9 tu saa 10. So after hapo saa asubuhi kidogo nilikuwa nikisikia sauti ya muziki. So baada ya hapo nikasema acha niende nijikalie huko, ikifika asubuhi nijiende. Kufika huko ilikuwa disco matanga.
However, Kibet has denied allegations of having abducted himself, as claimed by a section of politicians.
Hatuwezi tukajiabduct alafu tukakuja mpaka nyumbani. Mzazi haizi lia bure juu ya kujiabduct hadi tukafanya mzazi alie siku kadhaa.
In Embu County, Billy Mwangi, who was also abducted and released yesterday, shared what he went through in the hands of the said abductors.
Nilikuwa naenda kunyolewa ndio niweze kurudi kwa nyumba. So kufika kwa kinyozi ndio nikasubiri dakika kama 20 and a double cabin came and picked me up juju, nikaingizwa kwa gari. Sasa kutoka hapo sijui kulienda aje.
Although he acknowledged the challenges he endured during his time in captivity, he refrained from sharing further details, citing mental distress.
Niko sawa lakini niko under medication na niko psychologically traumatized.
Mwangi expressed his gratitude to the Kenyans of goodwill who stand by his family and advocated for his release on social media.
Shukuru Kenya nzima, na shukuru watu wa Embu kwa sababu waliweza kunipigania. They had a peaceful protest.
To mark his freedom, the family has organized a Thanksgiving service which is scheduled for Sunday.
Pia nashukuru wazazi kwa sababu wamenipigania pale kotini, pia kwa maombi.
The three were among the 5 youths released on Monday after the abduction. Chichi Josephine, TV47.
Kama vile umewalinda.
So, Victor, tonight there are a million of questions as to the abduction debate.
Absolutely. And Stanley Nyaringita now joins us on the other side of the studio with some of these questions.
Thank you, Linda and Victor. The abduction debate has taken center stage for the last few weeks and months. But tonight, we wish to ask a few questions. We ask, but we don't judge. So 5 abducted youth, who include Bernard Kavuli, Peter Muteti, Billy Mwangi, Ronnie Kiplangat, as well as his brother Gideon Kibet, alias Kibet Bull, were abducted just before the planned protests in the capital. Bernard Kavuli, who was abducted in Gong on the 22nd of December 2024, was found in Kitale. Peter Muteti, who was abducted in Uthiru on the 21st of December 2024, was found in Nairobi City. Billy Mwangi, who was abducted when going for a haircut in his Embu home 17 days ago, walked home yesterday. Ronnie Kiplangat, who was abducted in Kikuyu on the 21st of December 2024, was found in Machakos. Meanwhile, his brother Gideon Kibet, alias Kibet Bull, was found in Luanda, Vihiga, after being abducted on the 21st of December 2024. On his part, cartoonist Kibet Bull tweeted on Monday at exactly 5:34 p.m. East African time, and I quote, "They dropped me in Luanda, Vihiga at 3 to 4 a.m. Sikuwa najua where to enter or book a room. Kidogo form ya disco matanga came in, danced mpaka 6 a.m. when I went to book a ticket." End of quote. Gideon was reunited with his family today, as we will be telling you in this bulletin. At least according to one Billy Mwangi, popularly known on social media as Psychosins, has clarified that his account was hacked and controlled by someone else.
So this is Billy Mwangi, the abducted guy, Psychosins, and those guys who are using my Twitter accounts, Uko or parodies, they are not me. I'm not in Twitter. Yangu ilikuwa hacked na simu alichukua. So in case of anything, I'll update you guys in due course. Thank you.
So this is Billy. That is not Billy who is tweeting, guys, okay? Guys, hebu ambia watu wa Twitter wamekutetea sana manze.
Watu wa Twitter nawapenda sana manze. Mbogi yangu ya Twitter, mbogi ya watu wa Nairobi, watu wa Embu. Thank you so much. Hata kama walini.
There you have it. So here are a few questions that we have. Who abducted these 5 young men who were released on Monday? Why were they abducted? Where were they actually released? Where were they taken to and being held for more than 2 weeks now? Do they look like people who have been in a dark room for weeks? Well, some claim not to have control of their social media handles. So we ask, who was in control of their X accounts? For Kibet Bull's case, why did he go to a disco matanga instead of reporting the matter to relevant authorities? On Billy Mwangi's part, who dropped him in Nyeri? Who shaved him? He has been in a dark room for 2 weeks. Really? Let us have a wider scope on the matter. According to a report by the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights, that is KNCHR, there have been 82 cases of abductions or enforced disappearances since June 2024. Furthermore, the Commission notes that the total number of missing persons is 29 till December. With the release of the 5 young men on Monday, the question is, where are the 24, including Steve Kavingo Mbisi and Kevin Muthoni? According to the National Police Service, the DCI is investigating all cases of missing persons, with most cases pending before court and others under active investigations. To the Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, what is the update on these investigations? Is there a special squad? Are politicians involved in the abduction? Can police not arrest the abductors? Who is behind the abductions? To former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, did you claim to know the squad? Did you say you know the leaders? Did you say you know where they are taken? Did you say you know Mr. Abel? So, what are you not telling us? To the other politicians, did you say Gachagua is behind the abductions? Did you say the abductees are taken to some hotel in Nairobi? Why are you not arresting him? Is Gachagua too powerful to conduct abduction? What are you not telling us? Dear Kenyans, who is fooling whom? Linda and Victor, back to you.
Wow, quite a number of questions. I did notice that a lot of these questions are questions that Kenyans are asking, even on social media.
Right.
What actually happened to these guys?
I appreciate the brilliance of Kenyans, that sometimes you don't just accept things as they have been presented.
At face value. You interrogate, go deeper.
You go deep.
And now people have the tools, technology, they have the intelligence, they have the ability to delve deep and find the truth. You
can imagine the emotional toll down it has had on Kenyans and everybody else asking. I think it's important that these questions are answered.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Narigita has done a good one there.
Thank you, Stanley, for that. The questions are ours, the answers are for all of us as a country.
Right.
Now, to another story still in the same line. The Inspector General of Police, Douglas Kanja, is expected to appear in court on Wednesday morning to explain the whereabouts of the missing persons who were allegedly abducted in December last year.
And as Samira Mohammed now reports, among the 6 individuals abducted, Peter Muteti, Bernard Kavuli, Billy Mwangi, Gideon Kibet and Ronnie Kiplangat were released on Monday, while Steve Mbisi's whereabouts remain unknown.
Police Inspector General Douglas Kanja seemed to have begun his career as a police boss on a challenging note after being summoned to court for the second time.
It represents the Inspector General's commitment to uphold the rule of law, protecting constitutional rights and ensuring justice.
With High Court Judge Bahati Mwamuye emphasizing that failure to adhere to the order will invite penal sanctions for contempt of court.
State officers have an obligation, pursuant to their oaths of office, pursuant to the expectations of the Constitution, and also there is a consequence of contempt of court. This court will not hesitate next week if these persons are not brought before this court.
The new police boss is expected to appear in court on Wednesday, following a summon in relation to the alleged abduction of 6 individuals, including Gideon Kibet, his brother Ronnie Kiplangat, Peter Muteti, Billy Mwangi, Bernard Kavuli and Steve Kavingo.
If the 6 gentlemen are found, I am on duty every day. The criminal division is on duty every day. Nothing prevents any of the respondents or any other party from producing them to this High Court or any other High Court in the Republic.
However, 5 of the 6 missing individuals emerged on Monday morning in different locations, with the police urging Kenyans to collaborate with them by providing information that may aid in investigations or tracing the whereabouts of those still missing, including Steve Mbisi Kavingo, who is yet to be released. These as the National Police Service has denied any responsibility for the recent abductions. Police spokesperson Dr. Razila Onyango, in a statement on Monday, January 6th, noted that the service remains committed to thoroughly investigating these cases to their conclusion. And even as all eyes are fixated on the Interior Ministry over the recent abductions, the ministry's new Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has distanced himself from the cases as well as the murders of government critics, stating that he has no knowledge or involvement in the incidents.
We as a council do not in any way support abductions that are happening in the country. Those abductions are not in the forte of the Cabinet Secretary Interior.
Meanwhile, Kenyans may have to wait longer for the truth behind the abductions. Senate Speaker Amason Kingi has rejected a request by an ally of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to convene a special sitting to address the issue. The Speaker stating that such a request can only be made by the majority or minority leader. In a letter dated December 27, 2024, Nyandarua Senator John Metho had asked Kingi to call a special sitting of the Senate to discuss the issue, but the Speaker clarified that Metho's request did not meet the criteria outlined in Outstanding Order 33. Samira Mohammed for TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Samira, for that. Now, a section of legislators, notably allied to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, now want the formation of an independent public commission of inquiry that is to investigate the rampant abduction of individuals they allege are critics of the William Ruto-led administration.
Now, as Moige William reports, the lawmakers further want the commission to investigate what they have termed as the politicization of the National Police Service, where security agents are being used, allegedly, for political gain or to intimidate and persecute dissenting voices.
The conversation on the new wave of abductions in the country continues to take new forms as politicians trade barbs over who is responsible. Lawmakers allied to former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now saying that to solve the problem surrounding the spate of abductions recently witnessed across the country is by forming an independent public commission of inquiry to conduct a thorough investigation.
These incidents are not isolated. They reflect a disturbing trend of escalating state-sponsored abductions, violence, and human rights abuses.
The members of parliament expressing concern that the country's security agencies cannot be trusted to offer credible answers, further alleging that the executive arm of government has been using the National Police Service to intimidate and persecute dissenting voices.
It is particularly troubling that the police have yet to apprehend anyone in connection with the abductions of the Kitengela 3, whose 32 days of torture remain uninvestigated.
Since the police have denied responsibility, they have demonstrated lack of impartiality, they are conflicted and remain beholden to the executive.
Led by Kiambu Senator Karongo Dhangwa and Githunguri Member of Parliament Gathoni Wamuchomba, the lawmakers further want the commission to probe what they term as organized criminal attacks, expressing fears of the resurgence of state-sponsored criminal gangs, including Mungiki, to terrorize citizens and dissenters.
These gangs have been creating an atmosphere of fear, lawlessness, among ordinary Kenyans and critics of the government.
This raises significant questions about the government's responsiveness and commitment to upholding the rule of law. We also appreciate the ICC quick response in opening the portal for reporting human rights abuses.
Monday, 5 youthful men who went missing just before the Christmas holidays were found alive in different parts of the country, with the police stating they will be contacting them to aid in ongoing investigations. The team of lawmakers has called on the National Assembly, the Senate and all county assemblies to convene special sessions during recess to discuss the abductions. Moige William, TV47.
Well, enough of the abductions. I think we now cross over to a different subject where on the second day of schools reopening, there is still a crisis in the grade 9 transition.
Yes, indeed. Many schools are yet to be completed, or rather to complete the classes meant for the grade 9 learners.
And as Anastasia Mukabi now reports, one of the schools we visited in Nairobi is forced to use a nearby church for the learners.
New classes. Yes.
Following the grade 9 transition under the new curriculum CBC, some public schools have started on a rough patch with the increased number of pupils reporting to school daily. TV47 did a spot check in Nairobi County at Mwiki Primary School, where we found some pupils learning from this church underground, a situation that has made most parents agitated as they highlighted there are some students who are at the school's shed waiting for the completion of the construction of classrooms.
Leo nilikuwa nimekuja kwa sababu ya kuna mtoto nilikuwa nimekuja kuingiza huku kwa shule, lakini vile nimepata na vile nimeona vile tulikuwa tumeahidiwa mwaka jana si hivyo kulivyo saa hizi. Kwa saa hizi nimeingia kule ndani, nimepata kuna watoto wako kwa shade. Wamekaa tu kwa kivuli pale ndani. Hakuna classes ziko hapo. Wamekaa tu. Ongea na mwalimu mmoja akaniambia hata wao wenyewe hawajui. Hata wao wenyewe hawajui na hawawezi jibu zaidi kwa sababu wale ambao wanasimamia kuhusu kujengwa kwa maclasses, wao ndio wako na ujumbe kamili.
Nonetheless, the parents of Mwike Primary School have called on the government to intervene and address the issues accordingly.
Lakini sasa tunatarajia hizi zingine hao wenye wako nje wajengewe. Lakini imekaa sana. Tunaomba serikali iharakishe tengenezewe.
Sasa nimeshangaa kwani zile darasa tulikuwa tumeambiwa zijajengwa hazikujengwa ama kunaenda aje. Sasa kama serikali kama ilipeana hizo pesa ama haikupeana, tafadhali itusaidie, ijitokezee ili tuweze kusaidiwa.
In Kisii County, it is a relief for some parents of Kisii School as the school has decided to allow students back despite paying little or no fee.
I want to appreciate the principal of the school because he gave us instructions that the boys can report even without paying school fees.
A low turnout of students has been witnessed at school gates and bus stops as schools reopened. Parents continue to complain about their tough economic times, with some appealing to school heads to allow their children to attend school even without full fee payments. Anastasia Mkabi, TV47.
Thank you, Anastasia, for that. Still on education, as parents scramble to purchase textbooks, many have voiced concerns about the lack of materials, especially for grade 4, and that is all the way to grade 9.
That's right. And as Ruga Ival now reports, the claims have been refuted by the Kenya Publishers Association, which has attributed the shortage to distribution delays rather than a lack of supply. Let's take a look.
The rush to purchase textbooks for students has gotten some parents complaining about the lack of required books. The situation arising after they have spent the entire day searching for them with no success.
Nimetafuta vitabu from last month to date mpaka hata hapa nimetafuta vitabu za standard 3 hakuna hata moja. Zote zenye nimeandikiwa 6 of them hakuna.
Hizo vitabu sahi hazipatikani. Na ukiulizia ni kwa nini, wanasema vitabu zilifanywa wali revise. Kuna vile vitabu hapo awali walikuwa wanatumia lakini wakaeka ikuwe integrated. Sasa hizo integrated hazipatikani.
However, the Kenya Publishers Association has dismissed claims of a widespread book shortage in bookstores, stating that at least 85% of the books required have already been distributed across all regions.
It doesn't mean that there are no books available. KPA can confirm that there are still sufficient and relevant textbooks in circulation in bookshops, in schools, for all the learning areas.
The announcement coming amid growing concerns from school heads and parents who have reported a significant lack of books, particularly for students in grades 4 through 9. KPA chairperson Kerry Kamau has also acknowledged that there are some delays in publication due to changes in the new competency-based curriculum.
The approved books in these areas are currently undergoing corrections by the KICD, after which publishers will proceed to print them in time for schools in late January as well as in February. The ones that will be available towards the end of January are for grades 5 and grade 6, and the ones for grades 7 and 8 will be ready towards the end of February 2025.
The subjects affected by the delay in publishing include agriculture, integrated science, social studies, and pre-technical studies. Booksellers are now pressuring publishers to expedite the resolution of the issues as soon as possible to avoid the delay in learning for some students.
We are getting a very hard time. So we are calling the government to help us get the books on time, at least to push the suppliers of books and the publishers.
Challenges ambazo tunapata hasa kuhusu hizi vitabu ambazo zinapeanwa ni delay. Mara nyingi unakuta kwamba watoto wanashare vitabu wakiambiwa bado wangoje.
Ruga Ival, TV47.
Right, folks, now we have just seen in the story that we just aired a few seconds ago about a shortage of textbooks out in the country. A lot of you parents have sent in your questions and your feedback, and you say there is indeed a shortage. Tonight, we have with us the CEO of East African Education Publishers, who also doubles up as the chair of the Kenya Publishers Association. Mr. Kiaria Kamau, karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Kiaria, you tell us, the parents are saying there are no books. Is that true?
No, that is not true. Books are available, and this is a demonstration of the fact that books are available. Today morning, we had a press conference, and we explained exactly the state of the matter. That indeed, if we may start with the grade 9,
yes,
there are books that are going to all public primary schools.
Okay.
The distribution has been ongoing throughout December. It is continuing even this week. And to date, we can confidently say that 85% of public primary schools have received grade 9 textbooks. The remaining percentage will be receiving this week. And by the 13th, that is Monday next week, all public schools will have grade 9 textbooks, both for the learners as well as for the teachers.
And the teacher's guides.
And as you can see, this is the kind of book that is being distributed.
Oh, this is a teacher's guide.
This is a teacher's guide with, branded here, Government of Kenya, not for sale. No. These are going to all the public schools.
But what about the private ones?
Sector. Thank you very much. For the private schools, they are supposed to buy their books from bookshops.
Okay.
They do not benefit from the government books. So they should go to bookshops. They will get those books. We have also provided contacts of the Kenya Publishers Association so that in the unlikely event that a parent, a teacher, a learner goes to a bookshop and does not get a specific book, they can get directly with the Kenya Publishers Association or with a specific publisher of that book and access it.
How much, because then when you say that some of them will be available on the 13th, is a clear indication that there's been a slight delay because we have been in a long holiday and there was knowledge that schools will reopen by the 6th. What necessitated that delay? And if at all, then these parents can access these books and they're going to bookshops and they're not getting them. Why, just how much noise have you made for parents to understand that in the event that they don't find these books in bookshops, then they can easily reach out the publishers direct?
Yes, first and foremost, with regard to the distribution to all government primary schools, we started the distribution way back in November, proceeded in December, but you recognize that December schools were on holiday, and it is basically a holiday month. Mm-hmm. So in most of the institutions, the head teachers were not available to receive the books.
Okay.
And that we can understand. So come January 6th, immediately the schools opened. The schools that we were not able to reach, we are there and distributing the remaining 15 or so percent. With regard to the bookshops, again, it is the lull of the holiday season that publishers supply books to the bookshops, and then bookshops sell to the end users. So that lull is the one that had created that confusion between the 27th of December and 31st of December. But to date, we can confidently say that indeed these books are available.
All right. I have two quick questions for you, and they're actually from our viewers. Number one, earlier in the day, some news agencies were reporting that there was a bit of blame game between the KPA, really the publishers, and the KICD. There was talk that the KICD, the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, did not supply the content to the publishers on time. Is there any truth to this?
No, there is no truth. Actually, if I may go just a bit back, in 2022, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, appointed a presidential working party on education reforms.
Right.
That party was mandated with the task of looking into CBC and addressing the issues that Kenyans had raised. They went all over the country, 47 counties, collected and collated views of Kenyans. Those views now were presented in form of a report. The KICD used that report to address the areas related to learning areas and hence books. That addressing produced revised curriculum designs, what we used to call syllabus. And then those curriculum designs were made available to the public, teachers, parents, and to us, publishers, so that we could revise the books that we had done. So it's been a process. And the process of producing a book is lengthy because, again, we want to produce materials that are credible, materials that will feed learners with the right content.
Mr. Kyori, we will be coming to that. I know we'll have this conversation.
Just a quick one now. As we do that, as we go on break, I would like you to think about the process that you've just described.
Right.
Clearly, there have been some hiccups here. I know a number of Kenyans are saying, okay, here we are. We have a bit of a crisis. We can't get these books, and here we are. We have the KPA chair. What lessons have you and the association learnt that can be used to make sure that this type of thing does not happen again? We'll perhaps get an answer to that when we return.
Yes.
Thank you so much. We'll be right back. Please send in your questions and your feedback through the SMS line and the number on your screen. We'll be right back.
This December, learn about safety precautions to take into consideration this season.
If you can remember, if you drive on a motorcycle often, to make sure that you have a helmet, it's key to decreasing the severity of the accidents.
If you are passing in a bus from Kakamega to Mombasa, in between, just stand up, stretch your legs, and even when you are seated, keep pumping your feet, keep moving your feet to avoid that long stasis of blood in the veins.
Healthier options for you to maintain a balanced lifestyle amid the holiday hustle.
Eating healthy really doesn't mean that you have to deprive yourself, but we really just have to factor on how to strike a balance. Portion control and moderation are very key. Let us enjoy the season, and at the same time, let us try to watch our health and our well-being.
Happy holidays.
Hey there, friends. Welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in?
I was number 2.
What position were you?
Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Join us as we explore the journeys of those who defy the odds and break barriers. We dive deep into the stories of triumph.
Sometimes when parenting a child with a special need or whatever disability, family life becomes a bit complicated and you may end up raising the child on your own.
Here, we inspire.
I have a farm which one we showcase with other dyslexic youths and autism, how to farm.
Motivate.
It's never easy, but what we do, the best thing is to work with another parent who has an elder child than yours.
And break through the barriers one story at a time. Push your boundaries beyond the limit. Saturdays at 8 p.m. The Grind, where business meets brilliance. It's not just about the ideas.
I was working as a shampoo boy. I used to wash clients' hair on the sink.
It's about making them happen. From big wins
All right, welcome back and straight to the news. President William Ruto's political acumen will be put to the test this year after 2 years of political turbulence defined by political unrest and disappointed Kenyans unhappy with his leadership.
Well, the president, who is focused on a coalition building to unite the country and achieve political stability, stares at a political charged 2025, full of political maneuvering as key political players position themselves for the 2027 presidential election.
Right, let's listen to Apollo Kamau, our political reporter.
The politically charged barrio of mother to National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, Mama Anna Nyama, between President William Ruto's allies and his former deputy Rigathi Gachagua not only shook the country's political landscape, but has set the tone for a decisive year that could shape the 2027 election race. President Ruto is in the eye of the storm, having navigated 2 turbulent years of economic and political unrest that has caught his human rights record to question in the wake of alleged state-sanctioned abductions and Kenyans disappointed with his leadership. Can the president turn the tide for his re-election and rebuild his image and legacy?
Which will mean that Ruto will also have to work extra hard in order not to lose everything, and see whether he can change the attitude of the people.
During his New Year speech, President Ruto drummed up support for his broad-based coalition government, with former rivals turned allies, his anchor to achieve political stability and get re-elected in 2027.
The broad-based bipartisan national conversation we are having with leaders from various political formations seeks to extend the principle of inclusiveness to its widest possible reach without compromising the fundamental values of competitive democracy and diversity in viewpoints.
Raila Odinga. Despite his strategic moves in 2024, 2025 is proving decisive and a major test for the president if former Prime Minister Raila Odinga does not clinch the African Union chairmanship seat. Odinga, with a huge support base, has never missed an election in the past 4 decades.
He'll be a candidate in 2027. Even if he wins it, he might still be a candidate. That's in the DNA, Raila's DNA. Because he would like very much to be called His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga, President of the Republic of Kenya. And all those ceremonies, paraphernalia that go with the president. He would enjoy them.
In the Mount Kenya region, President Ruto, who is keeping his deputy in check after nominating 3 new cabinet secretaries, amid fears that his government is willing to work with a proscribed group to fight Gachagua and tame dissent in the region, will be waiting to see how the courts will rule on the Gachagua impeachment case, which could give Gachagua a political lifeline, another headache for the president.
So it was an anti-Gachagua move. That's what it was. Can these people be able to stem Gachagua, given their past record? I doubt it. So now Gachagua is waiting for the court to decide whether he was removed unfairly or whatever it is.
Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki, previously shy of high-octane politics, has also waded into Mount Kenya politics amid questions of whether he will match Gachagua's might in winning Ruto's support in the Mount Kenya region. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who has positioned himself as the alternative opposition leader to face Ruto in 2027, after the exit of Odinga from opposition politics, will have to bite more according to pundits and possibly form alliances with Gachagua and Martha Karua and other opposition leaders. This as emerging opposition leaders, among them Trans Nzoia Governor George Natembeya, also grooming to face Ruto is former Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'i, Busia Senator Okiya Omtata, and lawyer Morara Kebaso.
Kalonzo, who stands a very good chance in every way, we need to double up. He needs to show force, show vigor, show courage. He appears to be too soft, and as if he has always to be held by somebody else.
A looming 2025-2026 finance bill in the horizon amid a disgruntled Gen Z, which staged anti-government protests in 2024, forcing cabinet changes, makes the president's political strategy seemingly on trial again. Apul Kamau, TV47.
All right, folks, and Raila Odinga's bid for the African Union Commission's chairmanship has received a boost after the President of the Republic of Togo, Faure Essozimna Gnassingbé, and the President of Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Nguema Obiang-Mangie, pledged their support.
This emerged from separate meetings that they held with Kenya's President William Ruto ahead of the inauguration of Ghana's new President John Dramani Mahama. George Maringa with that.
The traditional drumbeats of Ghana, a West African nation, reverberated akin to the resurgence of John Dramani Mahama, who was sworn in today.
On the driveway from the entrance.
And one special guest was in attendance, Kenya's President William Ruto. But apart from honoring his friend's invitation, who had visited him at his Narok home in December, Ruto was also on another mission, drumming up support for Kenya's candidate to the AUC seat, Raila Odinga.
Excellency Ruto.
Drumming up support he did, as was expected, bagging another vote, that of the Republic of Togo, following a meeting with President Faure Essozimna Gnassingbé. Ruto taking to social media after that meeting saying, and I quote, "Africa's future will be shaped by inclusive dialogue among all stakeholders on the continent's transformation agenda. This includes reforms of the African Union, peace and security, and continental integration to enhance the private sector's role in development under the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement." Ruto's charm offensive extended to another country, not too far from Togo, Equatorial Guinea. President Ruto met with Vice President Teodoro Nguema Obiang-Mangie, who, according to Ruto, pledged his country's support for Raila Odinga's AUC chairperson bid. This, a day after Raila Odinga met with Navichandra Ramgoolam, Prime Minister of Mauritius, on Monday, who also pledged his support.
His Excellency.
And even as the campaigns continue, as the election day draws near, it should be remembered that each president carries a singular vote that cannot be delegated. The chairperson of the African Union Commission is elected by the Assembly for a 4-year term, renewable once. Raila Odinga will face off with Mahmoud Ali Yusuf of Djibouti and Richard Randriamandrato of Madagascar. The new chairperson will be elected at the 38th AU Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia in February 2025. The AU Assembly will elect the chair by secret ballot. The campaigns continue. George Maringa, TV47, Nairobi.
Right, Linda, as an African, Pan-African and an African expert, I think our director wants to know if you actually can say the names of all these presidents.
You need to tell my director that before we come on air to read news, we go through the script.
We prepare.
We prepare, we understand, and there's no way whatsoever.
Linda, I think he was trying to say we will listen and we won't judge.
You know, just like Nyaringita told us. Thank you. Let's proceed. Well, let's proceed, Victor.
All right. Now, while sunny weather and drought are expected to dominate many parts of the country in the coming months, this is according to the weatherman, Kenyans living in affected areas fear losing their crops and livestock.
Well, the Kenya Meteorological Department has forecast sunny intervals over the Lake Victoria Basin, the Central and South Rift Valley, and parts of the highlands west of the Rift Valley. Micah Gungu with that.
Sunny and dry weather conditions are expected to prevail over most parts of the country. Kenyans from dry regions have raised concerns over the probability of drought and water scarcity. Kenya Meteorological Department says average daytime temperatures of more than 30 degrees Celsius will be experienced over the coast, northeastern, northwestern and parts of the highlands west of the Rift Valley, Lake Victoria Basin and southeastern lowlands.
But for the season, the main feature is the dry period, where we may want to prepare ourselves in certain ways.
Nandi, Kakamega, Vihiga, Bungoma, Siaya, Busia, Nakuru, Trans Nzoia, Kisii, Nyamira, Kericho and Bomet counties are among the regions examined.
Sunny intervals over most parts of the country, except a little bit of cloudiness.
According to Kenya Meteorological Department Director David Gikungu, mornings will mostly be sunny, while there may be some rain in central places across the South Rift Valley and Lake Victoria Basin. Northwestern Kenya, including Turkana and Samburu counties, will have sunny days and partly cloudy nights.
Food stuff for livestock. Be careful about how we spend the amounts of water that may be available, because it's common sense to do so when we do not have rainfall and when the temperatures are this high.
Area residents have now raised concerns that they might lose their livestock or even some of the crops expected from their farms at the moment.
Pande inaitwa Takwel, kuna watu wanategemea irrigation, wanapanda vyakula kidogo kidogo na wanapokea hizo vyakula kutoka mahali pale. Lakini kwa saa hizi sasa nimeona vile hali ya hewa inatambuliwa kwa inaenda kupanda zaidi. Waturukana tuko kwa hali ya hatari kwa wakati huu.
Wale kwanza wa reserve ya ndani reserve, au wataumia zaidi, watakufa, mifugo itaisha, watakosa, wanakuwa wakimbizi.
Although there may be showers in certain places on Friday, the weatherman has predicted partly cloudy nights.
10 degrees is minimum temperature over some places like Narok. Yes, and that is a minimum temperature observed during the night.
In the counties of Marsabit, Mandera, Wajir, Garissa and Isiolo in northeastern Kenya, bright spells are anticipated throughout the day with partly overcast skies at night. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
All right, and of course it's been a business of heavy words.
Absolutely.
Another one is coming your way, and the Ministry of Health has announced that it is on high alert following reports of an alleged outbreak of flu-like illness caused by human metapneumonia, that is, or pneumovirus, that is HMPV. And these concerns have been heightened by circulating social media videos showing overcrowded hospitals in China with patients wearing masks.
Of course, this has sparked fears of a potential new pandemic. However, the ministry has moved to allay the fears.
And in a statement, the Ministry of Health assured Kenyans that HMPV is not a new virus. It has been documented as a circulation pathogen contributing to respiratory illnesses in the country. Additionally, the ministry clarified that there has been no observed increase in the number of patients presenting with respiratory symptoms in Kenya health facilities that is beyond what is normally expected.
Of course, the ministry has urged Kenyans to remain vigilant by practicing hand hygiene and observing respiratory etiquette. This, of course, to prevent infections. Those experiencing these unusual or rather severe respiratory symptoms, Linda, have been advised to seek medical assistance at the nearest health facility.
Important.
Yeah. Have you experienced any such symptoms over the last month or so?
No, pretty much healthy. I appreciate and I thank God for that. Maybe that's why we're here.
Yes, indeed.
But we need to stay woke.
Yes, indeed. Please do not be afraid. Let's get the information first before we react or even act on such information.
All right. All right, the sugar sector in Kenya is seeing a glimmer of hope after new sugar laws were passed last year.
Of course, stakeholders across this sector, from farmers to millers, have expressed optimism about the changes that promise to revitalize this critical industry.
But what exactly does this mean for the sector, and what challenges still lie ahead?
Violet Auma has the details from Kakamega.
Across Kenya, cane millers are celebrating a new dawn in the sugar sector. The laws signed into effect last year are being hailed as a game changer. Players in the sugar sector are emphasizing the role of the Kenya Sugar Board in ensuring that both farmers and millers benefit from a well-regulated industry.
We did public participation. The public refused. They said they needed Sugar Board. But the government went ahead and removed it with impunity again. Now they are restoring it back, and that's a welcome idea. It will really help because the farmer will be able to appoint their representatives on the ground.
Mshahara huwa inaongezwa. Mshahara huwa haishushwi. Na itakuwaje kwamba mshahara wa mkulima ni ile pesa yenye anapata kwa mazao yenye amelima. Inakuwaje afa inashusha bei ya miwa kutoka juu hadi chini bila kuhusisha wakulima.
Poaching alone has cost the sector billions, threatening livelihoods and forcing some of the millers to close down.
These are radical departure from the old regime where we had the sugar issues collapse into the same docket with other crops. The board is going to be representative of all the stakeholders. The millers will be on the board, the farmers will be on the board, all the regions will be represented, so we can see a lot of hope.
For years, the sugar industry in Kenya has been plagued by inefficiency, poaching, and over-reliance on imports.
For the program of cane development, Mumias now, we are on a very steady note that our nuclear has sufficient seed cane for these farmers.
Since we resumed milling in December up to date, we have enough mature milk cane to sustain us for another 6 months from the forecast we have done.
The Kenya Sugar Board is now going to put in place regulations that are reinforceable. They are going to crack down on the so-called brokers. They are going to ensure that competition is constructive and to the benefit of the farmer.
West Kenya estimates a loss of 400 million shillings annually due to poaching. Sugar imports in Kenya last year was valued at 23.92 billion shillings, according to the Ministry of Agriculture. Over the past decade, Kenya has imported millions of tons of sugar, even as local mills like Mumias Sugar, West Kenya, Butali and Nzoia struggled to stay operational.
This kind of act is going to ensure that we produce enough sugar for domestic consumption and over and above that for export.
President William Ruto recently announced a series of interventions aimed at strengthening the sector. The president confirmed that millers have produced a sugar surplus this year, earning farmers a bonus pay.
Na mimi nitarudi hapa Januari this month, mwisho wa mwezi huu, kuja kulipa bonus ya kwanza tangu Kenya iundwe kwa wakulima wa miwa wa Mumias hapa. Na mumezalisha sukari ya kutosha. We do not have to use our foreign exchange to import sugar to Kenya.
Under the new laws, through the bill that was brought to Parliament by Navaholo MP Emmanuel Wangwe, farmers will reap the benefits of their hard work. It is clear that sugar sector's revival hinges on collaborations. Stakeholders are calling on the national and the county governments, as well as millers, to work in unison. Their goal: to save jobs, support farmers, and restore the sector's glory days. Violet Auma, TV47.